WrestleMania 2 had the unenviable task of trying to top WrestleMania 1. Vince McMahon knew this and decided that WrestleMania would be held at not one, not two, but 3 different locations. The event would have also 3 times the celebrities, but only about 1.5x the matches from the first WrestleMania card. In hindsight, WrestleMania 2, I think, was even more important to the WrestleMania machine than people think, but it literally gets lost in the shuffle like being a middle child, when in fact WrestleMania 2 would be the first official full-scale WrestleMania card held on pay-per-view, along with the aforementioned fact that it was the first and only WrestleMania to ever be held from 3 locations, something that WWE has yet to try again to this day. So without any further ado, let's get into the story of WrestleMania 2. Also, real quick, while I have your attention, please make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. WrestleMania 2's 3 locations were the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, along with the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, and finally the LA Sports Arena in Los Angeles. The reported attendance by WWE in the combined arenas was right at 40,000 folks, jam-packed into these arenas. After all, this was the height of Hulkamania. WWE, you could say, was still riding a wave of success that was created from the buzz that was the first WrestleMania. I know it's hard for people to imagine, but in these days, the business would move a lot slower than it does in today's current incarnation. A whole year in wrestling then would be like the equivalent of a few months in today's product. And since we have 3 different cards essentially to break down, and because this show is so different, we will actually go in order this time. The show started out at the Nassau Coliseum, and this card was headlined by Mr. T versus Roddy Piper, and what was billed as a boxing match. Piper was still probably the top heel in the company at the time, and whether or not you believe the heat was real between Piper and Mr. T or not, one thing is for sure, and that's that fans were definitely buying into it, hook, line, and sinker. And Piper ended up getting disqualified after body slamming Mr. T, and this section of the card was rounded out by Jake Roberts defeating George Wells, the opener between Paul Orndorff and Magnificent Morocco, and finally a pretty memorable encounter between Randy Savage and George the Animal Steele. Celebrities in attendance in New York included NBA player Daryl Dawkins, Joe Frazier, Joan Rivers, Susan St. James, whoever that is. Next up, the show went out to the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, and this section was headlined by a tag team title match between Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine and the British Bulldogs. This match was a culmination of a pretty dang good feud between the 2 teams and would be one of the few WrestleMania appearances by the Dynamite Kid. The clip that gets shown the most from this show, however, is the 20-man Battle Royal, which was won by Andre the Giant, but was super special due to the involvement of many NFL players, including the Fridge. Corporal Kirchner also defeated Nikolai Volkov in a flag match, as well as the Fabulous Moolah defending the women's title against Velvet McIntyre. Celebrities in attendance in Chicago included Dick Butkus, who was there to ref the Battle Royal with all the NFL guys, and of course, my personal favorite WrestleMania celebrity appearance from Ozzy Osbourne, who literally looks completely out of his mind and like he has barely any idea what the hell WrestleMania is or who the British Bulldogs are. Sharon! Last but certainly not least, depending on who you ask, the show moved to the Sports Arena in Los Angeles. This was, of course, headlined by Hulk Hogan defending the championship against King Kong Bundy. If WrestleMania was to continue, Hulkamania was to continue along with it. In fact, you have to wonder, if Vince wasn't as sharp as he was, would he have called the whole event Hulkamania? I mean, his hands would have really been tied then. Anyway, without a doubt, Hogan defeats Bundy, The match was classic wrestling booking, white hot babyface versus a believable scary monster, and Bundy was certainly built up to be that. Still, I see this guy in my nightmares from time to time. This would be just setting the table for something and someone even bigger on the horizon. The LA card was rounded out by a rare appearance by Terry and Dory Funk, taking on Junkyard Dog and Tito Santana. This would be Dory's only WrestleMania appearance. That may win you a trivia game at some point in time in your life. Adrian Adonis defeated the 600-pound Uncle Elmer. And last but certainly not least, the Los Angeles show opened up with Ricky Steamboat defeating Hercules Hernandez. WrestleMania 2 is a really fun watch as far as I'm concerned. You can go back and look at this show, and I could argue that it defines the era possibly even more than its predecessor, or even WrestleMania 3 after it. Regardless of what I think, I do these videos here so I can find out what you think. What are your favorite matches and or memories from WrestleMania 2? Please let me know down in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed so we can see you next time on Pro Wrestling Planet.